in incorporating certain principles of yoga. Manish, can I request you to mute others down? I still hear some my own voice behind. Can I request you all to mute yourselves down? I think Christina and Andrea can, yeah, thank you. Thank you so very much. So we'll start with a small prayer. As you can see, there's a small little Krishna over here of the leader, you know, the Yogeshwara. We call him as the Ishvara of yoga. So prostrating him, we'll chant a small prayer, or you can just listen and enjoy. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Purana Muninam Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Vritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvam Anusandadhami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshini. The chant was on Bhagavad Gita and to the propounder of yoga on Lord Krishna. Why did I start with Gita? Because I couldn't find any other yoga scripture which could direct the guidance, which could actually help managing the remission of anxiety. That's our topic, right? Why do I get anxiety attacks time and again? I go down to yoga hall, do my practice, tire me out completely on the mat. I sweat a lot. But then the moment I relax in Shavasana, the moment I do pranayama, or when I'm deeply immersed into that ecstatic levels of meditation, I can definitely feel the peace. But why is that the peace that I have experienced is not continuing for the entire day? Or for some day, these circumstances, odd circumstances, might be perhaps it can be a successful event in your life. It can be an event of failure. But why do I get influenced by such circumstances? Why do I become anxious time and again? That's the question. And that's exactly the question of Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, right? In fact, he is even more pathetic. He says, Sidanti mama gatrani tvakchaiva paridahyate vepatuscha sarire me romahashascha jayate. He says, my body is burning. He's defining his panic attack here. So he's saying, my body is burning. I have this dry mouth syndrome. I'm not able to experience what my saliva is like. Now I feel so very scared in this battlefield, fighting against my own kinsmen. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. That is what we are all feeling. And we feel this only when there is, when there is time of demand, when you're asked to put your 100% potential to the work.
5 de minute, te duci tu afară, te speli, te îmbraci, faci tu niște lucruri.
Hi, Roxana. Can you please mute yourselves down? Thank you. So that's what Arjuna feels. Even worse, we feel anxious. We feel that we have some butterflies moving around in our abdomen, you know, when we have to appear for an interview, or if there is a project delivery or an assignment that we have to present or demonstrate upon. This is what our psyche and body reacts like. And Arjuna is, he has this guilt. Always anxiety is accompanied with some kind of guilt. The guilt can be non-performance of the same action previously. The guilt laden with the depressive attitude, you know, is there in anxiety. And it is clearly that trait is clearly shown in Bhagavad Gita in Arjuna. And even worse, he has this death wish, you know. He says, I am ready to die in this battle. Even if my brother kills me out, I'm happily dying. I'm not going to kill my brother. I'm not going to kill my nephews. I'm not going to kill my guru, my teacher, and nor my grandfather. This cannot be done. This cannot be done only for the sake of receiving wealth, only for the sake of gaining that kingdom back, gaining my reign. No, this is not done. So that's how.
Dr. Lalita
Yeah,
ji,
Manish.
so what I will suggest you is, please give them a small, very brief 5 minutes of who Arjun is, because they don't know Bhagavad Gita and why he's confused.
Yeah, I was about to do that. So Arjuna is a great warrior, and he is supposed to be the greatest warrior ever found in Bharata, in the nation India. And that's how we are. We all excel in our own field, right? If you are a computer engineer, you know your work more than anyone else's job, right? So he is an archer, he is a soldier, he does his work magnificently. But when he is put into a great battle, that's what Mahabharata means, great battle, where he has to fight for the goodness, now the goodness to prevail in society. But he couldn't. His hands went warm. He starts to, sweat. I just want to run a parallel line with ourselves. This is there in some 800-year-old, 1000-year-old scripture. Is not like that. It is very relevant to our situation. When we are asked to show the potential, the real potential, when there is a demanding situation, what should we do? We are supposed to be ourselves, right? That's how you enjoy your work. That's how you gain success in the work, in the piece of work that you do. But on the other hand, we basically turn out to be Arjuna, get that anxiety attack, get depressed, have guilt feeling, sometimes it goes so worst that because of all those failures that we have experienced, we do not accept the reality as they are, right? So we have such suicidal tendencies also coming up. That's a worst situation. I'm not talking about that. Still, how does this Krishna, who is sitting over here, how does he counsels Arjuna? It is an excellent psychotherapeutic module that he actually administers. What does he do first? First of all, he makes the things very clear. Why do we get anxious? Can anyone please unmute and pop up with the answer? Why do you get anxious? Have anyone analyzed about it?
Yeah, I think I can provide a quick answer. I think we are afraid
Sure, Roxy.
not doing a good job, and sometimes maybe we are afraid of what others might say about us. if we don't perform as they expect to perform?
You have struck the right hammer, you know. Krishna says anxiety is because of two reasons. One, fear of uncertainty. You do not know how this piece of action is going to end. Is it going to end well or not? If not, what will happen, right? So fear, the first and foremost reason is fear. And a second one is because of the previous guilt that we have, that we didn't do this piece of work or such similar piece of work that we have been interested upon, or didn't do it well up to the mark, up to our own expectations. Now, anxiety attacks only to those persons who are perfection oriented. That's a bright side. That's a bright side. Okay. So if you are towards perfection, what will happen? The mind starts to steer up. You know, it really gears up and then say, this has to be more better. This has to be more better, right? So it is not an enthusing factor, but it had become, you know, a trait, a quality, which has its roots with guilt, you know. So fear and guilt are the two prime reasons, Krishna says. Now, how does he, you know, overcome? How does he explain to overcome this fear and guilt? He says, before moving into solutions, I should not be very quick, you know. I have to take this easy, slow. Forget about the trait anxiety. We usually have this acute anxiety happening, you know. It's just for a temporary kind of time, you know, very short period of time. He also discusses that, you know, what is the reason behind acute anxiety? He says over focus is one reason. Is over focus wrong? We as children have been taught by our parents, by our elders, by the colleagues, right? That you have to focus more, concentrate more towards your progress, right? That's what we are taught of. Why is suddenly over focus is termed as negative? Over focus leads to frustration. Why? Because when you try to concentrate things more, you know, concentrate on your action more, you develop a kind of over focus over the action. You stop thinking about the process and start believing in the outcomes that you are going to reap. Suddenly, a change of mentality happens that you don't focus on the action more, but on the results more. What happens when you are result oriented? When you're result oriented, you very well know that life has two extreme ends. It has many colors involved in it, right? You got to be ready for any different color that it throws you upon, right? You suddenly start to forget all those truths. You suddenly start to forget about, you know, avoid, neglect the true facts of life, the reality, and then start possessing that outcome with you, right? Before even starting the piece of action. So over focus always leads to conflict and frustration, he says. And the second reason for the acute anxiety is attachment towards egoistic pleasures. And as I said, it is because of non-acceptance of reality. For example, if I write a poem, right? Poem in my own native language, right? And I use all those archaic languages or very beautiful words with esoteric meanings, right? And then what happens at the end of the poem? I deliver my signature, owing that this poem is written by me, Lalita, right? But Krishna says the poem doesn't belong to Lalita. He's very clear. He says, for Lalita to write a poem, she had needed the guidance of an inspiration that she had got from the nature. Nature was an ingredient, nature is an important factor for that poem to originate. Two, if at all Lalita had devised her own language, she can owe that, she can own that poem. But no, she has written in her own native language. Who taught her? Didn't her mother teach her native language? Then the teachers weren't involved in actually helping her to understand that archaic languages, archaic words. So he says, for any piece of action to get fulfilled, it is not one single person who is responsible for. He says n number of cosmic factors are involved to get accomplished or to accomplish one complete action, he says. Now, what do? You try to own the outcome. You try to possess the result for your own self. You feel good when somebody praises you. Oh, you've done a wonderful job. That's it. Even if you're not paid for it, you're happy. Why? Because the work that you did, you didn't enjoy the piece of work, but you were doing that piece of work for that particular, praise. That is called egoistic pleasure. Attachment towards the egoistic pleasure. Now that you found out what are all the causes of anxiety and acute anxiety, it is very easy to reverse all this, right? I have given 4 reasons. I see, I do not know who Miss Project Admin is, but she is taking notes of mine. So the 4 reasons are: 1, overfocus; 2, attachment towards egoistic pleasure or non-acceptance of reality. The reality is Lalita didn't write the poem on all by herself, on her own, right? Non-acceptance of reality. 3, as Roxy rightly said, fear of uncertainty, right? 4, previous guilt. The guilt that we couldn't do that piece of work in a better manner. We have to do it. We have to do it, Any enthusing factor built upon a negative emotion will not enthuse you, will pull you down. Right? Guilt is not a positive emotion, right? Guilt is a negative emotion. So hence, you end up anxious and do nothing over the action. And literally failure on your action, fail in your action. So now coming to the solution, I think my 45 minutes I get to over. I still have 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, and then the session shall be open to discussion. So the solution that Krishna gives in his systematic yoga therapeutic counseling, to Arjuna, he says, look, there are only 2 things that you have to do. 1, you should act smartly. He talks about something called smart action. It is different, don't even analyze what smart action is. I'll let you know. The second is self-surrender. Self-surrender with complete, immense Shraddha. Shraddha is a Sanskrit word for faith and devotion. Right? Why is it so? Why are they discussed as solutions? Let me come to that. First, I'll come to that smart action. It's really very catchy. The smart action is termed as Karma Yoga by Krishna, or he calls it as Yajna in Bhagavad Gita. Yajna means sacrifice, or the ritual that we Indian people do over the with the Agni, with the fire worship. That is called Yajna. Now, what is smart action? When you do an action with the expectation of result to be ripened, it becomes a mere action, he says. It is just a small, petty, selfish action where you will end up with only anxiety, fear, guilt, and frustration, of course. But he says, act smartly. How to act smartly? Completely detach yourself from the fruits of actions. We have this small program in the TV, in our national televisions, which is called Kaun Banega Karorpati, who becomes the millionaire. Okay. And a person, a great star, film star, interviews the person with, he shoots number of general knowledge questions, he answers to her, and that's how he gains the money. Slab 1, slab 2, slab 3, that's how he progresses. Now you tell me, when you are on the hot seat, right? And then there is an easy question of your own field is being put up, and you knew the answer very well. Why do you forget? You definitely forget, right? You get panicky. Why? Because the great Indian star is saying the next question, Agla sawal aapka 1 crore ka. The next question is for 1 million. Just then, when he says that the question is for 1 million, the mind races to the outcome. And when it races to the outcome, it stops, it literally stops functioning at its own, at its own pace. To me, you ask me any question of yoga philosophy, I'll be able to answer. Again, when I'm put on the hot seat and then say, the next question is for 50,000 rupees or 50,000 euros, I'll not be able to answer. And that's what we are doing the entire life. Whatever piece of action we are engaging in, we try to race through the process. We skip all the process and we race through to the end, to the goal. That is not acting smartly. He says, detach yourself from the goal. Enjoy the work that you're doing while you are doing. Be in the present moment, he says. So that is Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is the greatest blessing for anxiety. The second solution that he is talking about is self-surrender. I now wanted to tell you how our mind works. I know this elder sister of my friend. She was very young at that point of time. She was just 5. And she was doing some naughty things. So her mother actually wanted to punish her. Okay. And then ask her not to do that thing. So she just wanted to scare her. So what did she do? The tongs that we use in the kitchen, she imitated as if she, burnt the tongs, and then she came, she actually tried to touch my friend's sister. Her name is Pratima's body, she was about to touch her skin. The very moment, the tongue was never hot, the tongue was never kept in the burner, the tongue was just lying down over there. She just wanted to scare her. Just when she touched her body, the skin got burnt. Until now, you could find a small scar in her thigh. This is how our mind works. Mind, although is random, although is very, anxious, it is a kind of weapon, How you take things to be, it becomes reality. Yad bhavaha tad bhavati, Sanskrit saying says. Just as you think, so you become. If you think you're a dog, you're a dog, you're a dog, you become a dog. If you think I'm a Buddha, I am Buddha, I am Buddha, you're a Buddha yourself, right? On the contrary, when the devotee Meera is another devotee of Lord Krishna, she was wedded to a royal prince, Indian king, but she didn't enjoy all the luxuries that Rajputana kingdom had. But she was cherishing the joy by dancing and singing about Krishna and his glories. That's how she spent her entire life, and hence she is the best devotee one could, ever take examples from. She was given poison by her sister-in-law. She understood that it is Krishna's prasad. You know what prasada is, that you get in the temples after you leave, prasad. She understood that it is Krishna's prasada. She drank it. The poison didn't take her life at all. Everybody was amazed at this. It isn't a story. It really happened. And then when I understood that how Pratima, my friend's sister, took that tongue to be burnt, it is hot. The same mind has took the poison to be a blessing from the Lord. Now, what is Krishna saying? Surrender yourself completely. Whether I give poison in your life, whether I give prasada in your life, it will remain a blessing. When you take that, when your mind accepts that every misery or trouble is a blessing that Lord gives you, is a test that he runs you on, then you'll be happy, right? You'll not be anxious. That's a kind of devotion, immense shraddha and self-surrender what Bhakta Meera had. And that's what he is saying in Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyaha mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. The last word is very beautiful. He says, don't worry. Ma shuchaha. Don't worry. Why not to worry? I have hell lot of things in my life happening. He said that hell and heaven is given by me. It's a blessing from me. The hell is given just to test upon you. Heaven is given just again to test upon you how stable you are. Sarva dharman parityajya. Sacrifice everything. In terms of everything, he means the outcome of the action. If you're going to sacrifice the outcome of action, Mam ekam sharanam vaja. Surrender completely unto myself, not Lalita, but to the Lord. Okay, surrender completely unto the Lord himself. Mam ekam sharanam vraja. Aham tva sarva bhabebhyaha I will take care of all those sins that you have done in all your present life, previous lives, and the lives to come. I'll take care of all those sins. I'm going to destroy all your sins. I'm going to cleanse you throughout. You know, vacuum cleaning can be done in your mind. And that is my responsibility, he says. I used to talk, Judith is here, and there are a few familiar faces whom I take classes upon. I used to give this example time and again. What happens when President of Romania is your close friend? The kind of courage, the kind of happiness that you have, you know, you can do n number of things. You can, you know, just board the train, do not buy a ticket and just take the name of the president, and then you can just travel through, right? That's kind of courage. That's a kind of, you know, a complete different perspective of life that you will get. And what happens? The most powerful entity, powerful more than president of Romania, powerful more than all the presidents put together, powerful more than warriors put together. The Lord himself saying that I am with you. I am there for you. The amount of courage that you will have to lead the life, the transformation of perspective towards your life that you will have is immense, is amazing. You will not understand that only when you know, absorb that, try to incorporate that in your life. While saying this, suddenly, you know, it just struck to my mind that I had been put into many odds of my life. You know, there was no money. My husband was a social worker. We just started with $1,500 in our account. You know, which is really not possible to lead a life with 2 kids and education. It's not so easy like Romania. It is very costly and high priced. Education is very high priced in India if you want a nice quality ones. But it was Krishna who made things so clear in my life. Everything was set, and it was possible only because of the belief that me and Gaurav had, me and my husband had for him. It is the Shraddha that he is talking of. So self-surrender and not bothered about the outcome of action, Karma Yoga, are the 2 solutions that Bhagavad Gita gives. I'll end with the 2 shlokas, what Krishna says, at least just one, I'll end with this. He says, Uddharedatmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet atmaiva hyatmano bandhuhu atmaiva ripuratmanaha. Beautiful it is. And then you will also enjoy when you can enjoy the chants, of course, but you will enjoy more when you know, delve into the meaning of the chant. He says, if at all there is progress destined in your life, the progress can be because of only you and you alone. If at all there is fall destined in your life, there is some mishappening that had happened in your life, don't blame. It is because of that particular situation. It is because of this person who had wrong feelings, who had wronged me. No, it is because of you had the fall. He says, you are your best enemy. You are your best friend. Think about and then decide whether you have to be your enemy or your friend. A friend is happy when you are progressing. An enemy keeps that jealousy inside, you know, or pulls you down when you are progressing. Do you want to choose anxiety? Do you want to choose guilt? Do you want to choose depressing mood swings? Or do you want to choose love, affection towards Lord, or detachment from egoistic pleasures? It's in your hands. So when you become your friend, you progress more with positive emotions. Them they call as Daivi Sampat, the divine qualities within you. The others, which we are talking about, anxiety, guilt, and depression, and frustration, and conflicts, hysteria, and all those things are called as Daivi Sampat, demonic qualities. He says, if you're going to be a friend of yours, you will have the surge of divine qualities within you. You will be upheaved with all the spirits, healing energies inside. But if you are going to be your own enemy, you will choose to be anxious. You will choose to be worrying. You will choose to be being sad, right? So my kind suggestion to you all would be, try to practice yoga off the mat too. What do you do on the mat? Now Manish made everyone do Setu Bandhasana. And he made all of you to stay in Setu Bandhasana for about 15-20 seconds. It is not an easy posture if you're going to hold it for more. It is not at all easy. You will feel difficulty. You will feel, that kind of sensitivity that when is Manish going to bring me back? Right? But amongst all those odd thoughts, what is making you stay over there stable? It is the divine quality. Detach yourself from the body. Let the back hurt. It is just hurting for good. It is just stretching your lumbar. That's what your intellect is saying, right? And then you are able to hold that posture more. The same thing that you have to do off the mat. Whatever odd happens in my life, whatever uneven circumstance happen in my life, worrying, leg pulling incidents happening in my life, detach myself from that mind, detach myself from that demonic quality of mine, and then stay stable, stay put, find your center. I'll end the session with a small prayer again and then leave you for the discussion. The prayer is again on Bhagavad Gita and our sweet little Krishna, who gave such beautiful meanings to our life, such beautiful lessons which you can really incorporate upon. So we'll again combine those and then end the session, and then we'll open the discussion session. Om Parthaaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Graditam Purana Muninam Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitaamritavarshiniim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayiniim Amba Tvamanusandadhami Bhagavat Gite Bhavadveshiniim. Thank you. My time is over. 15 minutes for discussion.
Okay, if you people have any questions, please feel to ask her.
Okay, no questions. Just to thank you for everything that you transmitted and shared with us.
Thank you so very much, Theodora. You are very sweet. Thank you so much. But still, I would enjoy if a few questions, if you could relate to your life, and
I would
then
have a
we'll
question.
move on.
I-
Sure.
Yeah,
Tell me your
yeah.
name other
This
than
is
project admin that I can see
from
you.
the email. So my name is Aurelia Roth. Aurelia or Aura.
Aurelia.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Aurelia.
I was very grateful for the clarity of how you explain these processes, which, you know, when somebody knows their topic, they seem also very easy for the other people. Yeah, because you went through a certain process and then you are able to explain it. But then again, I'm working as a homeopath and also a therapist with the natural therapies here in Romania.
Great.
And I have people coming, clients, patients, I call them, and they are in different stages of, let's call it so, uneasiness with themselves. Okay? Not necessarily anxiety. Some are also in a pathological condition, but okay, anxiety goes to different levels. So okay.
Right.
Then, what would you say? Let's come to the question. What would you say would be the first steps for such a person who is not acquainted to yoga, who is not looking for these kind of things? And of course, this is also a different cultural background, but nevertheless, we are still human, and it's the same human structure in it.
Right.
So what would you think would be the intermediary steps?
Intermediary steps, like I would try to adapt some grandmother old recipes, home remedies, you know, that will really give quick cookbook recipes. One, for such persons who has no control over their demonic qualities like self-anger, self-guilt and all, no, that's the kind of emotion that gives uneasiness, you know. They feel like breathless sometimes because of such self-anger and guilt emotions. So one is to take bath in sea salt. So take some rocks of sea salt and rub the entire body. You can utilize it on your face. It will not create any rash. Don't worry. And then, you know, take warm water over it. People over Indian therapies believe, of Siddha, Unani, and Ayurveda believe that sea salt eliminates
We also
negativity. And hence you can see,
use it.
people putting the sea salts over crystal bowls in different places where they live. So one is that. And second, what I call as mirror meditation. Most of the time we look at the mirror only when we are out, right? Only when we are before, you know, we are going to some office or to meet some persons, you know, or for party. So make that mirror seeing meditation, you know, mirror contemplation moments even more deeper. Like, even when you're not made up completely, I'm decked up with beautiful sari, as you can see. Even when you're not decked up, look at the mirror and start, you know, feel that amazement of creation of the Lord. When you could see the mirror without any guilt, and it has to happen in due course of time, you know, you have to spend a little more time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. This is called mirror meditation. It is again ancient old therapy. My grandmothers used to say. So look at your face, look at your body with a sort of amazement, with a sort of, you know, self-love. If you could not love yourself, how can you love others? Otherwise, what will happen? You will keep begging for love. Please love me, please love me, please love me. We don't have to be beggars, right? So self-love is the first step. And for cultivating self-love, mirror contemplation or mirror meditation can really help. The sea salt water bath and mirror contemplation can help, Aurelia. I hope I've answered. There are many other tips, but to start with, just as you asked for the preliminary steps, these can help, and along with your homeopathic medication is wonderful. I still believe homeopathy. I use homeopathy whenever I am sick. And yes, yoga is the greatest boon, not because I belong to that field, but I've seen ocean of changes in the behavioral transformation, in the emotional transformation when yoga is put into practice.
Can you
So
please have...
I think I made myself clear over there.
Sorry to interrupt.
Thank you, Aurelia.
My name is Simona Jalba, and I'm from Romania. What kind of mirror meditation? Look at ourselves and say or do, or what? Do we have to act somehow? Do we have to
No.
say something? Do we have
No.
to feel something, or just look and observe and not judge and nothing else? Is
Yes.
this? Oh,
Yes.
okay.
What do? Every time we start to see mirror, we try to correct the activity of Lord. Oh, he should have made my nose a little longer. My teeth should have made into the air. That's what we used to do, but you should not be doing that. Don't judge. Just be amazed that you have both eyes. You can ask me, my son was born without rectum and anus. And he had to undergo 6 different procedures of surgery. Perhaps Aurelia must be aware of, because she's a doctor by profession. Then I understood each and every limb, every anga is very important. And you have all of those. You have all of those. You should be amazed. You should be happy, feel gratuitous for that wonderful creation that Krishna did over you. How beautiful your eyes are. Huh? How strong your nose has been kept. Your ears are not there, just jewels. You still can hear. That is the sense of amazement that you should have while you are watching at the mirror. Not by bringing you down or thinking something nonsense, but it will not happen in one day. Keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. And one day, this will happen. This magic will happen. Okay,
yes,
Simona?
thank you. Very clear. And I have another question, if I may ask. Only a few more minutes left.
If Manish could permit.
The answer, you don't have
yes,
to
Manish can.
answer now if we don't have time. You can keep it for next time. The question is, while you spoke, I felt very calm and I understood your words, even if I was late because of things that I need to do, very important. And I caught only half.
No problem. Manish has recordings. You can anyway get this recording.
So I was here only for the half of discussion. This really helped with the problems that are current in my life, and how to keep that serenity.
Thanks to Manish for that, because Manish chose the topic.
Thank you, Manish. Very clear. We spoke before and he knew that this will help me also. How to keep this calm feeling even after the discussion is over, because when you are out of sight, you might be also out of my mind. So how to keep it when I'm getting mad or sad or overwhelmed, or when I'm starting to take the bad path, I'm not thinking, oh, I should not start taking the bad path. I'm just taking it. How to be successful at that.
Simona, believe me, coming from me with this, all those problems that I had with my cane and all, perhaps the small trick that I used in my life, which helped me, can help you also, and perhaps to everyone. The trick is being aware. Just as you breathe, you know that you exist. You are aware. Be aware of every emotion that you emote. What happens is that we get into that rush. sometimes the senses and the emotions just, fall apart, and then we also do along with it. And we don't even realize that we have fell apart. That's the pitiable condition. Yoga teaches you to be aware. Just be aware of every thought, emotion that you have. Once when you are aware, the intellect will do its own functioning. You have been weeping for 2 hours to get 2 hours continuously for such a nonsensical thing which you'll be weeping for. Then the intellect starts to prick you. Then you're aware, yes, oh, this is not even, an important part in my life. This is what I'm not going to concentrate upon. But what happens? You get distracted. Like, while you watch the Instagram and Facebook, you never knew that 5 hours are gone, 4 hours are gone. You just get distracted because you're not aware that you have been doing this social media browsing all throughout for 5 hours, for 4 hours.
Thank you.
Okay, I have one suggestion.
Thank you, Simona.
For Simona's questions and from Aura's question. This is my suggestion that we will ask Dr. Lalitha during next few lectures that she teaches us yoga off the mat. Okay, so Aura, those who are not willing to try yoga,
Great.
you can try yoga off the mat.
Yes, you read my mind.
So, yes, we will learn yoga off the mat so that we
Yoga.
can do yoga without doing yoga. Okay.
Thank you, Manish.
So, okay, what we can do is we can conclude the meeting here.
So it's
Whatever questions
time.
you have, can keep with you, and we can discuss that during the next session as well, if you're joining.
And I here want to submit that what would be the topic for the next Sunday, or if we are not.
Yes, I think we can start with topic like yoga off the mat, so that we can bring yoga 24/7 into our life rather than
Okay.
first 1 hour a week.
Right. Oh, yoga off the mat it would be, and the timing would be the same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also have a suggestion, maybe, if I can say. For example,
Yes, Christina.
I think there is a very strong connection between anxiety and all the addiction or avoiding mechanism that we have, and maybe that would be interesting to talk, because usually anxiety comes with an avoidance process mechanism. Agitation comes into the body, you feel to move towards something, or to avoid, or to repress or not face all these feelings. So I think this will be also an interesting topic to discuss.
Sure, Christina, I'll take care of that. We'll still be talking about anxiety and its mechanisms and practices of the mat.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for reading the lectures, and thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you next Sunday as well.
Sure, Manish. Thank you. Namaskaram.
Namaste.
Thank you very much.
Namaste.
Namaste. Bye-bye.
From our heart.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you.